Hello Newsmark viewers. We continue to bring you the hot developments regarding the Russia-Ukraine war. As you know, the war continues. In recent days, the parties continue their operations against each other. Military experts, on the other hand, advise Russia's former Defense Minister Shoigu to stay away from high-rise buildings and not sit on the windowsills. Putin's long-awaited new cabinet was announced the other day. After the announcement of the cabinet, it was revealed that changes were made that aroused great curiosity. Shoigu, who has been working in the Russian Defense Ministry for years, was not included in the new cabinet. This news had a wide repercussion in Russia. Shoigu had been in charge since the beginning of Russia's invasion attempt against Ukraine. His dismissal may be the clearest indication that military affairs are not going well for Russia. The losses and failures of the Russian army since the beginning of the war have been on Moscow's mind for a long time. The cabinet reshuffle took place not long ago. The Moscow leadership, and even Vladimir Putin, has an interesting style. His authoritarian and controlling style of politics makes him a dangerous leader. The suspicious deaths of several officials who worked with him after they were dismissed from their posts only reinforces suspicions about Putin's dark side. Death by falling from buildings or in traffic accidents has become quite common in Russia.
Работу на протяжении предыдущих лет. Мы помним, как все начиналось, я имею в виду.
Especially politicians and bureaucrats either fall, get poisoned or die in accidents shortly after being dismissed. For this reason, we advise the dismissed Shoigu to stay away from tall buildings and vehicle traffic, and not to eat any food. The Kremlin could end him at any moment as they are done with him. Periods of war are critical periods for both political and military developments. It is very important to follow politics, the front line, and the agenda closely during these periods. Now, if you are ready, let's analyze the latest developments together. As Newsmark, we continue to bring you the developments regarding the Russia-Ukraine war. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so that you don't miss our daily reports and explanations. I also read all your comments on our videos. Please continue to share your ideas about our content in the comments with us in the comments. Tell us in the comments what content you would like to see on the Newsmark channel. Let's start if you are ready. Newsmark reports. Russian President Vladimir Putin's announcement of Sergei Shoigu's dismissal as defense minister was met with speculation and jokes on social media. Since previous reshuffles have been marked by mysterious disappearances, jokes have been made that Shoigu will suffer the same fate. After 12 years in office, Shoigu will reportedly be replaced by Andrei Belousov, a former deputy prime minister and economic expert. According to our information, Shoigu will now replace Nikolai Patrushev as secretary of the Security Council of the Russian Federation. It was well known that Shoigu had difficulties in formulating Kremlin policy on the wartime period. It was very difficult to translate the theoretical moves on the ground. Shoigu was aware of these difficulties, but the authoritarian Kremlin leadership left him no other choice.
У нас в ходе активных наступательных действий штурмовые отряды группировки Южная сегодня полностью.
The chaos throughout the war, the unrest in the Russian army and the problems were mainly due to Moscow's behavior. The cabinet reshuffle comes as Putin begins his fifth presidential term and the war in Ukraine, which began in February 2022, continues. Vladimir Putin announced last month that he would make changes in the administration after winning the elections and securing his mandate. The first major change came from the most problematic place for Russia, the military. According to a Washington, D.C.-based think tank, Putin recently made a move aimed at punishing Shoigu for failing to achieve the Kremlin's military goals in Ukraine. In an assessment of the war in Ukraine, it wrote that Putin held a public meeting with a known rival of Shoigu as a way to possibly reduce the power of the defense minister. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said the other day that Putin gave Belousov the role of defense minister because the ministry must be open to innovation and the latest ideas. It is clear from these statements that the failure of the war in Ukraine falls entirely on Shoigu. Putin and Peskov's statements are considered to be aimed at diminishing Shoigu's reputation.
В среднем с начала года противник ежедневно теряет более 800 человек личного состава и 120 единиц.
While political developments are making their impact felt in Russia, news from the front continues to come. According to a new assessment made after Moscow launched a push across the border the previous day, Russian forces are trying to make tactically significant gains in the Kharkiv region of northeastern Ukraine, where Kiev probably has fewer defenses. Russian forces are conducting relatively limited offensive operations along the Russian-Ukrainian border in the northern Kharkiv Oblast and are likely trying to make tactically significant gains in less defended areas, local sources said. Meanwhile, Ukraine is expected to receive over 400 M142 high-mobility artillery rocket systems and ammunition in a new $40 million package sent by the United States. While the joyous news was met with concern on the Russian front, it caused excitement on the Ukrainian front. The other day, the Biden administration announced a $400 million presidential military aid package for Ukraine. Presidential military packages provide expedited delivery of military aid to foreign countries in times of need. It is widely appreciated that the Ukrainian army has shown strong resistance in counterattacks and defensive operations. The impact of the new defense minister on the war process is a matter of debate. Some military experts believe that Russia's military problems will not be solved unless the system changes. In order for the system to change, they think that the government in Russia must change. Another opinion of experts is that the new minister will have positive effects on the war process. Experts think that the Russian army will enter a certain order, but they underline that this will not be enough. They say that there will be a big leap in the war gains with the arrival of the support and weapons that the Ukrainian army expects. For this reason, it is stated that even if there are improvements in the Russian army, the increase in the power of the Ukrainian army will prevent this. In Russia, reports of a tense political environment continue to emerge. Following the cabinet reshuffle, there are reports of tensions between political interests. It is reported that Russian leader Vladimir Putin has had problems with trust in recent years. It is stated that Putin, who does not trust anyone close to him, has a very high level of anxiety and stress. What do you think about Putin's surprise move? How do you evaluate the work of former Defense Minister Shoigu? Do you think Shoigu is to blame for the failure of the Russian army? Do you think there will be a change in the Ukrainian army's combat discipline? We care about your opinion. Please share it with us.